Part 14. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 132. I mean, if it is really the inheritance I got from observing the sky one night, I don't think you will believe it. Lily said. Nonsense, and old Lou beside him nodded. That's right, she just finished speaking. Yang Yuru frowned, and stood up all of a sudden. Lao Liu's face turned pale, with a trace of blood coming from the corner of his mouth, and he subconsciously reached for the back of his waist. What she had there was not a dangerous thing like a pistol or dagger, but her homemade pills. Like an obsession, old Lou took out a bottle, poured out all the pills in it and threw it into his mouth. The empty pill bottle was throwing it on the ground. He took out another bottle after a while, swallowed it again as before, threw away the empty bottle, took out another one and swallowed the medicine before her face looked better. Lily resisted the urge to count her. The impulse of how many empty bottles were hidden behind his waist kicked Lao Lu aside. Stay away, the king is about to attack. If I hadn't said this, I'm afraid Lao Lu wouldn't be able to hide. She firmly believes that as a warrior of the jihad group, she will eat to the death. Although Lao Lu is usually very shrewd, she can coax others to cut meat when there is barbecue, but in the end she is a patient. When it comes to bleeding and losing her life at some point, she may not care as much as ordinary people. She has her own persistence. Once it is something Lao Lu decides on, she will not take a step back even if she dies. It can be seen that this group of people dared to blow up the mental hospital and escape en masse. But Lily really couldn't bear to see them die. She had done so many missions, and it was not like she had never touched people's lives. Especially when she entered the mission of Yishan slaying the dragon, she killed many people from the Ming cult. Logically speaking, my heart has already become as cold as iron. But I don't know why. Faced with this small group of people who are lacking in some aspects. Even though she knew that they were not afraid of death, she still felt unbearable. Even when she saw the bleeding from the corners of Lao Liu's mouth, she felt very uncomfortable, as if she really regarded these patients as her subordinates. Lily secretly cursed that she was very ill. If she was ruthless, she should have let these patients suffer. She hid behind and fired cold arrows, but she didn't know which muscle was wrong. What kind of hero are you trying to pretend to be? It's really a good idea to get into a mental hospital. Ziahe, why don't you join me and I'll let you live? Yang Yuru smiled as he watched Beihe stand uprightly in front of a group of people. He moved his palms and irritatedly removed the fine pieces that were hanging on his forehead. The hair was pulled back to the back of the head, leaving only a strand hanging down on the forehead, exposing the full and broad forehead, with a bit more wild and evil charm, and a bit less gentle and elegant than before. He took off his glasses, revealing his dark eyes that seemed to have a hint of blue. Coquettish and a little weird. It is estimated that no one in the Yang family has seen Yang Yuru like this. Just when Yang Yifeng was about to speak, Yang Yuru flicked his fingers, and there was a bang sound like a flower blooming in his head, and something drilled through the Tianling cap above his head. When Yang Yifeng came out, his head seemed to turn into blood mist and dispersed. A large amount of blood rained down where Yang Yifeng originally stood. The headless body fell to the ground. A transparent insect quickly turned into a cocoon and turned into a butterfly. Slowly it flew to Yang Yuru's hand and stopped. Gu technique. Did you teach Yang Jingrong the red thread Gu? The Yang family were stunned by such an incident and were speechless. When Lily saw the Gu, she suddenly seemed to understand something. His eyes widened, and he subconsciously pointed at Yang Yuru and said, "Where did you learn that?" Yang Yuru seemed to be even more surprised than she was. His eyes widened at first, and then he couldn't help lowering his head and laughing softly, "Ha ha ha, that old guy said he was the only one in the world. I didn't expect him to be included in this world wrong thing." Yang Yuru laughed to himself for a long time. No one dared to say anything to him this time. Yang Yifeng's body was still twitching instinctively on the ground. Everyone felt chills in their hearts. This method was really cruel. It was so terrifying. I saw a person's head explode in front of me, and my legs were already shaking. In order to obtain Yang Tianquan's property, fearing that he would have nothing after his death, the adopted sons of the Yang family from all over the world flew back at the same time. Now they gathered together, giving Yang Yuru a chance to catch them all. Seeing such a scene, Lily felt chilled and gloated at the same time. These adopted sons of the Yang family were not the children of the Yang family in the first place. Yang Tianquan adopted them, but these people were ungrateful. He even sent Yang Tianquan's only daughter by his first wife to a mental hospital. Everyone is punished by evildoers, and this is really a bad retribution. How could Ziahe know the art of bewitching? Yang Yuru didn't bewitch the original owner in the first place. It was really because she was not worthy. She was just a young lady raised in a boudoir. She only knew how to eat, drink, play and go to school all day long. He didn't need to bewitch Yang Lily. She was also useless, but for some reason, Yang Jinrong wanted to scare her crazy. Speaking of Yang Jinrong, her so-called cooperative relationship was just her own opinion. Yang Jinrong wanted to cooperate with him to obtain the Yang family. In fact, Yang Yuru also I really didn't take the Yang family seriously. When his strength has reached his level, worldly wealth is no longer attractive to him. He just wants to see the Yang family die to bury the past that he doesn't like. In fact, Yang Jinrong is also something he doesn't like. In fact, from the beginning to the end, Yang Yuru didn't take her seriously, and he didn't allow her to survive at all. The so-called collaborator was just a title given to her by herself, but in fact she didn't deserve it at all. At this moment, Yang Yuru was really curious when he saw Lily's strength. An ordinary young lady, an idiot who only knew beautiful clothes and jewelry before, was frightened into a mental illness and sent to the hospital. She seemed to be a different person. Not only became a lot smarter, but also learned so many interesting things. Yang Yuru thought about the martial arts practice she used to talk about. At that time, everyone thought she was crazy. She thought she was careful, but she was also fooled by her. Hidden the past. Now it seems that she is not crazy, but actually practicing martial arts. A rich young lady actually learned martial arts without any teacher. Yang Yuru had already thought it was very magical when he saw the Gu art before. Now when he looked at Lily, he felt it was even more magical. He was also impressed by Lily's wit. Some sighed. Yang Tianquan is so smart that he actually gave birth to a smart daughter like you. In fact, you had already arranged for her to be admitted to a mental hospital, right? People think you are crazy because of your uprightness, but in fact, you are practicing martial arts, Yang Yuru said, stroking his hands and smiling. It's just that I don't know when, under my nose, you will receive such a wonderful inheritance. It's really hard to imagine, and such words came from Yang Yuru's mouth. Lily instantly felt very strange. In fact, she did not enter the mental hospital because Yang Yuru said she was deliberately pretending to be crazy, nor was it a trick. In fact, the Lord was really scared out of his mind, and it was not a smart plan for her to use martial arts to divert the attention of Dr. Wang and others. Thinking of those strong nurses and the scene where she pretended to be crazy because she didn't want to take medicine, I can only say that she accidentally brought the matter to another edge. In fact, she was not as bad as Yang Yuru said. He is very smart and scheming. If he knew that his IQ was only just up to the standard of a normal person, he would definitely not say such a thing. But Lily didn't want to explain anymore. No one would dislike someone praising her for being smart. She tried her best to look incomprehensible, straightened her back and said righteously, "Yes. I have known about your conspiracy for a long time, Yang Yuru. Do you hate my father?" By chance, she once again guessed the truth correctly. Yang Yuru's eyes showed a bit of sinisterness, and he grinned and said with a chuckle, "I hate him? No, I don't hate him, but in order to have a clear conscience, he must die. In order to choose a man for the eldest daughter of the Yang family, Yang Tiancheng tried every means to get many orphans. Zai, don't you think that there is such a coincidence in the world that there are so many orphans with good appearance and genes? Adopted by Yang Tiancheng, Yang Yuro stretched out his hand to touch his forehead, and narrowed his slender eyes. Yang Tiancheng thought I had no memory. In fact, my original biological parents died in a man-made car accident, and I became Yang Tiancheng. One of the adopted orphans, as a candidate for Miss Yang's consort, waiting to be called by you. The memories of his parents before they died have always appeared in Yang Yuro's dreams for many years. He had to show that he didn't remember anything in front of Yang Tiancheng. In fact, Yang Yuro was born cold-hearted and cold-hearted. If he hadn't met and taught him when the mysterious old man with goo skills and martial arts was a child, maybe his wish was just to get the Yang family, to avenge his parents, and to dominate the shopping malls all over the world. But once he learned the martial arts and goo skills, the world seemed to have changed. When another window opened in front of him, what he wanted changed. The Yang family is no longer in his eyes, and what he pursues is another higher level, but what Yang Tiancheng does is like a mountain pressing tightly on him, stopping him. The pace of progress, in layman's terms, was like becoming his inner demon, which he had to get rid of. As for Yang Jinrong, this woman asked me to meet for 2.5 years. She said she wanted to cooperate with me to eradicate the Yang family, and that she knew some secrets of the Yang family. I fed her a worm and asked her to tell the truth. It seemed like she's been reborn. Yang Yuro said this in an understatement, not caring about the sweat on his face as he laughed out loud. Whether she is reborn or has traveled through time, there are no toys that are delivered to her door. The principle of playing. To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan ERWR. Chapter 133. Perhaps he regarded all the people in front of him as dead people, so Yang Yuro had no hidden meaning when he spoke. He was very powerful. From the fact that Yang Yifeng was killed by him just now while talking and laughing, it can be seen that he had become Yang Tiancheng's side before. The secretary is in charge of all affairs in the Yang family mansion. With this job, he should have bewitched everyone in the Yang family. For a person like him, everything is under his control. Maybe as long as if he just snaps his fingers again, the Yang family will die without any trouble, and without any effort. Except for the sudden intrusion of Lily, Lao Lu, and a group of mentally ill people, Yang Yuro's plan can be said to be flawless. Using poison to kill people simply makes it impossible for modern police to find any evidence. He can still get away with it after killing people. Yang Tiancheng actually got into trouble with such a dangerous person in the first place. Although Lily still pretended to be careless on the surface, she was worried in her heart. Tears streaming down my face. What rebirth! This time the mission not only had a well-matched opponent, but also a reborn person who was accidentally exposed and disrupted the situation. As for why Yang Jinrong was reborn, or what the purpose of rebirth was, she no longer cared. After all, Yang Jinrong died at her hands. Now that Yang Jinrong is dead, no matter what she has done, what plans she has, or what kind of assassination she has suffered in the past, it has nothing to do with her. Yang Yuro looked at Lily with a smile, a look of temptation on his face. How about Zai? Are you willing to bury the Yang family with me and enter another new era? As soon as he finished speaking, old Lu, who was still a little pale, couldn't help laughing out loud. Ah ha ha ha, holy lord! This person is even crazier than us. It's time to take medicine, she finished her words. Yang Yuro snorted coldly. His tall and slender figure was like lightning. In just a blink of an eye, he appeared next to old Lu. Say it again. In order to safeguard the world and peace, reactionaries like you should be killed. Lao Lu puffed up her chest with a look of righteousness on her face, but her hand kept taking out a handful of medicine from her lower waist. Bottle comes. After picking some up, he poured them into his mouth. From his actions, it could be seen that old Lu was still nervous. Lily's heart tightened and she secretly cursed a fool. It was obvious that Yang Yuru was a dangerous person. How dare old Lu at this moment? To provoke him, and just as he was about to curse, Lao Lu raised his hand. The Holy War Group. Before she could finish her words, Yang Yuru's palm was already on the back of her hand, and there was a soft bang sound. Lao Liu's face turned so pale that her color suddenly disappeared, and there was still a smile on her lips. She fell to the ground. Some of the pills she had swallowed before she could chew them were spat out and scattered all over the corners of her mouth. It looked very strange among her pale skin. "Get up, Lao Lu, you bastard!" Lao Jian laughed twice and stretched out his legs to kick Lao Liu's body. Some of them have been in the hospital for several years. These mental patients have no jobs of their own. Without their loved ones, their families have almost given up on them. There is nothing belonging to them in the hospital. The doctors and nurses look at them with fear and a sense of coping. Although the private nursing home is luxurious, it has no human touch at all. No, all they can have is the feelings they have for each other after spending many years together. Although they usually fight and yell at each other, they still care about each other. When Lily was thinking this, she saw tears streaming down Lao Jian's face, and her heart ached. Just as she was about to say something grateful, Lao Jian couldn't help but raise his head and laugh. "Ha ha ha, Lao Lu is dead. From now on, I will be the captain." Lily wanted to reach out and scratch him to death, but Lao Jian took out a key he picked up from nowhere and threw it at Yang Yuru, while spitting at Yang Yuru. He lowered his head to hug Lao Liu's body, but Yang Yuru had already received the key and stepped on his vest. Lao Jian coughed twice and lowered his head to wake Lao Lu up, but blood kept pouring out of his mouth. He didn't care to cover his shattered heart. The blood dripped onto Lao Liu's face, but he stretched out his trembling hand to wipe the blood from Lao Liu's face. Yang Yuru Lily's eyes suddenly darkened. It's not that mental patients don't understand emotions. They just seem to have a door locked in their minds, and they can't open that door if they lose the key. They are also complete human beings. Especially this group of people are much cuter than many people who are greedy for profit. They are cuter than a group of so-called sworn brothers in the Yang family. What's more important is that they all came down the mountain for Lily. At this time, Lao Jian and Lao Lu got into trouble one after another because of their own affairs, and Lily's heart surged. A feeling of anger came over her, knowing that she was no match for Yang Yuru, but she still couldn't help but rush towards Yang Yuru. It was too impulsive, Lily knew it. Her light body was kicked away by Yang Yuru and she hit the wall. Yang Yiming, who was crying while holding Yang Jinrong's body just now, saw her flying over and hurriedly avoided it, not caring about Yang Jinrong's body. This is human nature. Compared with Lao Jian, who was afraid that his blood would stain Lao Liu's face after being injured, people with simple minds are obviously much cleaner. She climbed up and sat up. Yang Yuru arranged his hair and said with a smile, "It's very good. In just 1.5 years, you have grown to such a point. It really surprises me. If I give you a few years, little He, maybe you will surpass me." There was a sharp pain in Lily's chest, and she struggled to stand up. The smile on Yang Yuru's face did not change. "I can give you two choices. One is, for the sake of your father's life and death, you will use your so-called night watch teach me the martial arts from Tianxiang, and then you die. Secondly, you can choose not to join me and kill them all with your own hands." Lily's heart was heavy at this moment. She saw that Lao Jian had been lying next to Lao Lu involuntarily. In order to avoid hitting her, he rolled to the side. Chu Yu and others wanted to go to Lao Lu, but they were blocked. Due to the air pressure in the room, he walked very slowly, and finally stood behind her. She just didn't care about this mission or Yang Tianquan's life and death. But when she saw such a group of people, how could she bear to let them die? Have you thought about it clearly? Yang Yuru already knew that Lily would never agree to die, because he himself had tasted the mysteries of martial arts. The feeling was really ecstatic, as if the whole world was. How could she be willing to give up such a benefit for a dying old man like it was being trampled under her own feet? People are selfish. When he thought of this condition, Yang Yuru somehow began to feel uninterested. He didn't want to play anymore. He wanted to send all the Yang family members on their way as early as possible before going on their own journey. Here too much time had been wasted and he was impatient. He raised his hand. Everyone was most afraid of his palm-holding gesture. Yang Yiming even started to cry, "Ziahe, please promise him quickly. Are you going to watch me die?" Thinking of what Yang Yuru said just now, that she would die after she taught him martial arts, Yang Yiming actually asked herself to agree quickly. She thought her heart would feel strange pain again, but she frowned. The pain she imagined did not come to her heart. Lily breathed a sigh of relief and glanced at Yang Yiming. "Don't worry, I won't just watch you die." Seeing the ecstatic joy on Yang Yiming's face with a smile, Lily twitched the corners of her lips coldly, "Because I can close my eyes." The smile on Yang Yiming's face suddenly froze, and he seemed to be in disbelief. "Ziahe, why did you do this to me? Have you forgotten our feelings back then? Have you forgotten that back then? How much do you love me? You also promised that you would tell your adoptive father that you would marry me, but have you forgotten all about it?" "I forgot all about it, damn the anesthetic." At this moment, Lily once again cursed the episode where the anesthetic made her less likely to receive it. If she had known this earlier, she might not have led this group of people down the mountain. If she had known that it would end like this, she would never have allowed old Lu and others to accompany her to the hospital. When she heard Yang Yiming's words, it not only reminded her of the episode where she had received less medication because of anesthesia, all that was left was deep regret and resentment. "Yang Yiming, were you the one who sent me to the mental hospital?" Lily turned back and stared at Yang Yiming. She had too many doubts in her heart at the moment. If the original owner really had an affair with Yang Yiming before, and Yang Yiming betrayed her in the end. If Yang Jinrong is together, then the hatred of the original owner can be explained. But she really couldn't remember what the inside story was, so her expression looked a little violent at the moment. Sighing, Yang Yuru put his hands into his trouser pockets with a smile on his lips. "If this is the case, let me tell you. It is a small discount for you in advance for our transaction." When Yang Yuru said this, he blinked at Lily. There was no cruel look on his face, but he had with just a few moves, he easily killed Lao Lu and Lao Qian. Lily hated him and was a little afraid at the same time. Seeing that he was rarely willing to open his mouth to answer the confusion in her heart, she suppressed the anger in her heart and took advantage of this time to start to regulate the chaotic internal energy in her body. Pay attention to what Yang Yuru said. It turns out that as early as more than 3 years ago, Yang Yiming entered the political center of the provincial capital at a young age with the help of the Yang family's wealth. Young, handsome, and talented, yet steady and gentle, his eyes seemed to contain affection when he spoke. How could a young girl be able to withstand such temptation? Naturally, under Yang Yiming's deliberate seduction, she quickly fell in love with him. To be continued. P.S. Fourth update: this cliff is a struggle with life, vomiting blood, and changing at the same time. Where have I been? Add an update for the little fan vote 450. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 134. The actions of Lily and Yang were hidden from others. Yang Yiming knew that he was still young and had just embarked on his official career. Although he wanted to win Lily Yang's heart, and even wanted to gain everything in the Yang family, he was also afraid of the other members. the sworn brothers united to attack themselves. After all, he understood very well the principle of shooting the first bird, so while coaxing Lily Yang to come and go quietly, he acted in a gentle but very distant manner from Lily Yang. He even took the initiative to confuse others with those who wanted to get along with her. Yang Jinrong, who also used him as a shield, hooked up. At first, Yang Yiming was just acting on occasion, but Yang Jinrong was reborn and came back specifically to seek revenge from the Yang family. She had been fighting with Yang Jingru for half her life in her previous life, but in the end she learned that the old man didn't regard her as his daughter at all, so she ended up being beaten by Zhu Lan. What's even more terrifying is that all the Yang family members died under his revenge because of Yang Yuru, who was hiding in the dark. After returning from rebirth, Yang Jinrong no longer wanted to have the Yang family, but she was not willing to die in such a miserable way in her previous life, so she was also prepared to take revenge like Yang Yuru. Although she died at the hands of Yang Yuru, because of the strength of this man, Yang Jinrong knew that she was no match for him. When she died, she saw Yang Yuru's magical method of calling Gu, so after she was reborn, she first tried to cooperate with him. She took advantage of Yang Yiming and got close to him because she knew that Yang Yiming in her previous life was Lily Yang's favorite man. Didn't Yang Tiancheng only like his beloved daughter, so he would destroy her and make Yang Tiancheng miserable? Didn't Lily Yang get her beloved brother Yiming in her previous life? This time she would taste Lily Yang being hummed by Yang Yiming. What a taste of personal betrayal! These were all asked by Yang Yuru using various means. Yang Jinrong didn't know that she had been poisoned by Yang Yuru. He poured out all the secrets deep inside his heart. And Yang Jinrong is also Yang Tianchen's daughter. She also took advantage of her rebirth to know exactly what kind of woman Yang Tianming liked, and she did a lot of homework behind her back. She easily made Yang Yiming forget about Lily Yang, and fell deeply in love with her. She even used her for Yang Jinrong's sake. In response to her love, Lily Yang drugged her food and drink, making her hallucinations worse and worse. He couldn't sleep all night every day. Sometimes he would play spooky and weird recordings in the room. In addition, Yang Jinrong used the red thread Gu stolen from Yang Yuru to cooperate. The two conspired to make Yang Tiancheng scare Yang Lily half to death. Finally, Yang Jinrong's goal was achieved. She scared Lily Yang to death, making Lily Yang successfully scared out of his wits. When Lily Yang asked Yang Yiming for help and told him her inner fears, she didn't know that the man she loved and trusted was the murderer who reached out to her. In the end, she was led by Yang Yiming to doubt that she really had the crime. Mental illness. Once there is a loophole in your mind, it's like a virus will take the opportunity to invade. Lily Yang originally firmly believed that she was a normal person, but once the self-doubt and denial appeared in her heart, she could never go away. With disgust and uncertainty about herself, she began to wonder if she was really sick. As Yang Yiming said, she should take medicine to treat it. Once she first thought she had the disease, it was never easy to go back. She was sent to a mental hospital. How much she trusted Yang Yiming before, but now it was so easy for Yang Yiming to harm her. She ended up in a mental hospital, but Yang Yuru didn't know what the outcome would be. After all, Yang Jinrong's the previous life was just her miserable past life, not the successful life after her rebirth. After hearing these causes and consequences, Lily looked at Yang Yifeng with an increasingly cold expression. She thought clearly that there were nearly 30 people in the room. In addition to the 9 people she brought with her, there were 9 more Yang Jiyi brothers who were alive now. Except for the dead Yang Yifeng, the dying Yang Tiancheng, and a lawyer he trusted, the rest were all bodyguards and others. Lily has no way out now. Her time is too short, and time does not wait for me. The plot in the novel where willpower must overcome the challenge will not appear here. If she continues to fight today, she may only hurt others. Forget it about the Yang family, it has nothing to do with them whether they die or not. Although they are not the real murderers who caused Lily Yang to enter the hospital, when Lily Yang entered the mental hospital, these people may have known that the inside story was weird, but no one was willing to help. Perhaps because of the huge wealth of the Yang family, she wanted to monopolize it, so Lily didn't care whether they died or not. The only thing she wanted to care about was those simple-minded, limbless people. Just a developed mental patient. In the past, when she thought about it, there were some people who made her laugh or cry, and sometimes they would do things that made her furious. But now, when she thinks about it, she only sees them as cute and funny. She rarely encounters such pure-minded people in her missions. Bai's people trust her and are willing to die for her, a fake holy lord, so she can do the same. I promise you, Yang Yuru, but except for Yang Tiancheng, you must let these people go. When Lily said this, she pointed at the people behind her who had escaped from the mental hospital with her before she spoke. At this time, Yang Yuru showed a look of surprise on his face, and everyone in the Yang family was a little happy at first, and then a little confused. What do you mean by letting these people go? We are your relatives, Lily. The smile on Yang Yuru's face darkened, and he showed an annoyed look for the first time. Yang Lily, stop making trouble, you have endless potential, you are powerful, you still have countless room for improvement, go to a group of patients, damn it, stop being funny. Who do you think you are, a defender who saves the earth? An angel who protects peace? As soon as he finished speaking, Chuyu looked at him with a crazy look and said unconvinced, she really is, that kind of belief, without the slightest doubt and without fear of making a joke, made Lily feel weak and couldn't help it. He turned around and glared at Chuyu, then shouted softly, shut up. Chuyu's face showed a look of grievance, but Yang Yuru's expression became more gloomy. Are you willing to die just for such a piece of trash? Is it just a show, or are you really that stupid? Yang Yuru said here. He reached out and took out a mobile phone and threw it over. Write your skills on it. The dagger I gave you before. Just in time to kill myself. He still didn't believe it at the moment, as if Lily was teasing him. Lily smiled slightly, she took the phone and started tapping on it. She knew Yang Yuru's ability. Since he was a master himself, she would only be humiliating herself if she tried to hide it from him. Therefore, Lily had no intention of concealing anything and just silently recited the 9 Yang manual. However, when she reached the key point, she thought of a small fragment in the original work. In fact, she really wanted to imitate Huangrong's recitation of the martial arts and handed it to Wang Feng. It's just that Huangrong didn't have any scruples at the beginning, but she had too many scruples. Yang Yuru is much more vicious than Wang Feng. What he wants is for him to die. Death may be scary for some people, but for Lily. But it was just the beginning of the mission. Although she was a little reluctant to give up the 9 Yang manual. But it's rare for people to have such an impulsive moment. She memorized the internal skills and threw them away. As for some bone-shrinking skills, she didn't show them, so naturally she didn't write them down. When receiving the phone, Yang Yuru's face looked a little unhappy. There is also goo magic, how do you know it? Lily sneered twice and raised her chin, don't be too greedy. I'm self-taught. I'm pretty good at knowing the red thread goo. What else do you think I know? Having said this, Lily paused. Now I have done what I said, and I hope you will also do what you said. I just want to protect Yang Tiancheng from death, and you don't make things difficult for Chuyu and others. After she said this, she left without hesitation. He took out the dagger that had just cut Yang Tiancheng's forehead, and before Yang Yuru could react, he wiped his neck. The blood spurted far away, and Yang Yuru's eyes were a little dazed. He saw the decisive movement of the woman in front of him, as if he had seen some familiar scene. Severe pain surged in his head, and he seemed to feel that he had lost something. Like something very precious, a feeling of panic surged into his heart, causing him to subconsciously reach out to catch the hot blood. but the blood was already a little warm when it fell on his palm. He didn't grab anything and slipped it from his fingers. This woman was so determined that she died without any hesitation. Didn't she think about living a good life? Living is such a good thing, why doesn't she want to live? When his parents were struggling to survive before they died, they left him in the car and didn't care about him at all. Yang Tiancheng was poisoned in the past 2 years but was unwilling to die. Everyone wants to die if they want to live again. Why doesn't Lily want to live? Yang Yuru was in a state of confusion. Perhaps stimulated by Lily's actions without hesitation before she died, he actually remembered many things that he thought he had forgotten many years ago. He seemed to see the overwhelming blood after the car accident, and he seemed to hear Yang Tiancheng asked him with a smile in his voice who he wanted to die. In the desire to survive, Yang Yuru did not hesitate to choose to let his selfish parents die. He was saved, but he always thought that he did the right thing. He always thought that he hated his parents, and even instinctively turned his hatred away. He transferred it to Yang Tiancheng, thinking that all this was caused by him. But in fact, deep down, Yang Yuru didn't realize that he was also cowardly and selfish. He didn't expect that behind blaming Yang Tiancheng, he might actually be escaping from something. The car accident that he thought didn't cause any harm to his soul many years ago was actually very dangerous. It was firmly imprinted in his heart. Of course it was Yang Tiancheng who killed his parents, but he also made a selfish choice at the moment of death. Many years ago, Yang Yuru always felt that even the most selfless parents in the world would not give their children the best. He always thought that he doesn't believe in emotions. He believes that human emotions are the most fragile, so he kills people without blinking an eye, so he treats human life as child's play. But when he was splashed with Lily's blood today, for some reason, when Yang Tiancheng saw her determined look, he remembered what happened many years ago. If the couple hadn't left him behind when they escaped, would things have turned out differently now? Now Yang Yuru has to admit that what happened many years ago still left a shadow on him, and his desire for immortality has become stronger. Because of the shadows of those who almost died, he is more afraid of death than anyone else, and he is also more afraid of death than anyone else. Everyone wants to live. But in fact, he secretly envied the existence of people who could lay down their lives for others. He didn't believe it before, but now that such a fool was in front of him, he wanted to laugh and felt a little resentful at the same time. Because he failed to meet such a person. Because he himself is such a cold-blooded and selfish person. When you can't get any warmth. I wish the warmth could disappear forever. It doesn't matter if Lily dies, there will be one less person like this in the world. Since I can't have this kind of person all to myself, it's better to let her die happily. Yang Yuru lowered his head, with a dangerous look in his eyes. He looked stiffly at Lily's fallen figure, and clenched his fists heavily. Speak, keep your word. The man who was almost dead grinned instead. She was extremely embarrassed now. There was a huge gash on her neck and her trachea had been cut. I don't know how she could still speak. Yang Yuru attributed this to the power of will. The wound on her neck was enough to prove it. She was so determined to save a dying old man and a group of abnormal mental patients. She had no intention of covering her wounds before she died, but she was still struggling for fear of regretting it. Yang Yuru wanted to laugh a little, but there was also a murderous desire to destroy everything struggling in his chest. There had never been such a person who could even risk his life to protect his life. This fool, this fool. She obviously has martial arts skills. As long as she lives a few more years, maybe her martial arts skills will surpass hers, but she actually wants to die in exchange for the lives of these losers. What good things are there about these people that deserve her to care about them like this? Yang Yuru looked at the dumbfounded Chu Yu and others with some contempt. A cruel smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, but there was a blank look in his eyes. I will agree. After he said this in a strange way, he looked at Lily and laughed. The plot on the TV actually appeared in front of him. Yang Yuru reluctantly curled up the corner of his mouth. He should actually be laughing. He is the biggest winner. Although there was such an accident, he should have made money and be happy because he let go of a few people who he had not planned to kill in exchange for a peerless martial arts secret book. But at this moment Yang Yuru was not happy at all, and even a dull pain came out of his heart. It was so unfamiliar that he wanted to laugh but couldn't help but feel disgusted with himself. The corners of his mouth drooped again, with a somewhat stern look on his face. He lowered his head and watched Lily slowly close her eyes. He couldn't help closing her eyes too, and sneered. What doesn't belong to him will not belong to him in the end. This time Lily felt the most uncomfortable before she died. Not only did she have the experience of having her neck wiped once, Lan Yu also wiped her neck in a mission. But there is really a difference between wiping her neck by herself and someone else. At this moment, the blood was still flowing out loudly. She could feel her body getting colder, but the feeling of being unable to breathe made her extremely uncomfortable. When she saw Yang Yuru fiercely telling Chu Yu and others to get out and throwing them out, the first thought that came to her mind was that if she had known that he didn't need hostages, she would have just given him Luan Mo's hand. Now she really lost her wife. Another soldier was defeated. Lily saw Yang Yuru killing all the adopted sons of the Yang family in the room, as if to vent his anger. Yang Jingru, who used to always scream in front of Lily, could not escape. Only a lawyer was left, and she didn't know what kind of insects had been fed into the room. In the end, she was lucky enough to survive, but she didn't know what happened next. She didn't know that after her death, her body was fished out of a pool of blood. Yang Yuru made her into a living voodoo and took it with him. Yang Tiancheng finally woke up, but he was also disabled. He only had 3 daughters in his life. Now that they are all dead, his adopted sons are also dead, and he has left a pile of property empty. The Yang family, which has been passed down in the provincial capital for several generations, disappeared in this generation. When she returned to the space, Lily couldn't recover for a long time. She covered her throat and coughed twice. When she recalled that she didn't actually need to breathe anymore, Li Yangzi had been standing beside her for who knows how long. As soon as he appeared in the space, it was as if there were a few rays of light in the space. In the past, Lily was in awe when she saw Li Yangzi. After all, Li Yangzi had the power of life and death. She actually respected and feared Li Yangzi, but this time she was tricked by him once. Although Lily knew that her thin arms could not twist her thick thighs, she was still very depressed. Li Yangzi set a trap for her, which almost made her go crazy this time. Seeing Li Yangzi, Shibei's face was calm and she didn't say hello first like before. Looking at her expression, Li Yangzi knew that she must be anxious. He couldn't help but smile, and with a flick of his sleeves, a chair suddenly appeared behind him. He sat on it as if nothing had happened. He said gently, "You did a good job." Lily responded, lowering her head and staring at her feet. Seeing that she didn't bargain with him, and she didn't feel dissatisfied because of it. Although Li Yangzi liked her knowledge, she couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed at this moment, but he obviously had no experience in coaxing people, so he glanced at Lily and quietly conjured up another chair. "Sit down too." "No, I can just stand." Lily then spoke to him. Li Yangzi breathed a sigh of relief. He glanced at Shishi, with a dark look in his eyes. "I know this time the mission did not follow. Please make it clear that it was my fault and I almost caused you danger, so I feel sorry for you." He took the initiative to apologize. He didn't mean to refuse to admit it. On the contrary, it made Lily have a better impression of him and made him feel embarrassed to act like him again. "I was so dissatisfied at first, but when I thought about how many times Li Yangzi had helped me, I felt a little embarrassed and said, 'Actually, it's not your fault. It's what I should have done.'" After Lily said this, she thought something was wrong. She obviously felt a little scared at first, but now she became, While she was explaining to Li Yangzi, Lily was silent for a long time. Maybe it was because she hadn't spoken to Li Yangzi much before. She really didn't know that he was such a sinister person, but now she had spoken. She is not really a tsundere girl in her 20s. Even when she was really 21, she was never this pampered. Now that she has done many missions and lived for so many years, she can no longer ignore her. Rao Ren really couldn't do it, so he had to be depressed to death, and kept all his anger in his heart. Li Yangzi looked at her blue and white face, held back a smile and said, "This time, due to some unexpected reasons, there was an accident when you received the plot, and you should also know that the plot is not 100% complete every time. As long as there are uncontrollable factors, regardless of whether it is man-made or not, it is possible that you will not be able to get the complete memory and plot again, so be careful next time." After saying this, Lily thought about this mission and was extremely depressed. That's possible, change this situation. At this moment, she no longer cared about the depression caused by Li Yangzi. Instead, she asked the most important thing, "There is no plot this time and I don't know if the mission has been completed." "It's done, congratulations." When she heard these exact words, Lily breathed a sigh of relief, but there were still many things she didn't understand. Li Yangzi seemed to know what she was thinking, and smiled and brushed her hands. Flicking the hem of his clothes, his eyes were cold the moment he lowered his head, with a coolness that seemed luxurious and independent from the noise. Coupled with his cold and handsome face, it was really very lethal to women. Yang Bei was betrayed and framed by her lover, imprisoned in a mental hospital, and finally died of madness. In fact, she did not live past the age of 25. She was euthanized when she died. It happened to be the day Yang Tiancheng died, so she not willing to give in. The general situation is similar to what Yang Yuro said, that is, Lily Yang hates Yang Jinrong for seducing her lover, but is not willing to be betrayed by the person she loves and trusts deeply. She also feels sorry for Yang Tiancheng. This task is the most difficult. The first thing is that Lily Yang first appeared in a mental hospital. Going to a mental hospital is probably no better than going to jail. At least there is still one day to get out of jail. But after becoming a mental patient, after it is clear that someone wants to harm you, it is impossible. When they let you out, there were enough sedatives and anesthetics to make you go crazy, so everyone who did the task failed at that step. When they find that there is no way out, many people choose to give up. Maybe only a silly girl like Lily knows that there are tigers in the mountain, but persists the most tenaciously and can successfully complete the task. Li Yangzi didn't want to see Lily fail in her mission, but when she saw her completing the mission this time, she still felt a lot in her heart. To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 135. Okay, this time because you have completed a task that is not originally yours, I will give you a little extra. And because of the difficulty of this task, of the original 2 attribute points, I will give you more. You are the only one. Where do you want to be added? Li Yangzi finished telling the causes and consequences of Yang Bei's plot. He has never been a talkative person. He said so much in one breath. Just when Lily was feeling a little uncomfortable, she heard his words, "Although I had to commit suicide in exchange for a way out, I actually got 3 points as a gift. I couldn't help but feel a little excited. I think it's all about force." This time she taught the 9 Yang manual to Yang Yuro. She still didn't know if her martial arts would disappear. Lily could only hope that her martial arts value would be higher to make up for her losses. Li Yangzi glanced at her and sighed. Lily's information once again appeared in the starry sky, which stated: Gender, female, variable. Name, Lily. Age, 21. Intelligence, 62, out of 100. Appearance, 61, out of 100 points. Physical strength, 59, out of 100. Force, 25, out of 100 points. Spirit, 15, out of 100 points. Reputation, 21, out of 100 points. Skills, 9 Yang Manual, 9 Yin Manual, Heaven and Earth Gate Tao Te I Ching, Southern Gu Technique. Specialties, Intermediate Cooking Skills, Advanced Acting Skills. Charisma, 34, out of 100. Collection, Corpse King's Love, Saint's Blessing, Angel's Heart. Although he had already had a premonition that teaching the Nine Sons Manual to Yang Yuru this time might cause problems with his martial arts, when Lily really saw that the light in the Nine Sons Manual had dimmed by half, and even revealed his happiness. When the transparency is about to disappear, she still couldn't help but feel a sinking feeling in her heart. I regretted it so much that I wanted to gasp. Although this time, not only the reputation and charm have increased, even the intelligence has been increased a little, and the intermediate acting skills have become advanced acting skills. However, no matter how much the attribute points are increased, Lily cannot be happy. The Nine Sons Manual is the basis for saving her life every time she does a task. If even this disappears, Lily really doesn't know what to do when encountering such a situation in the future. Every gain must come with a loss at this moment. Li Yangzi could see that Lily was feeling regretful and uncomfortable, so he said something meaningful. Regardless of whether Lily could understand it or not, she spoke directly, because of the special circumstances this time, I will give you a chance to save your life, no matter when you want to use it. Lily also knew that she couldn't be too greedy, so as soon as Li Yangzi finished speaking, she reluctantly nodded. Li Yangzi seems easy to talk to at the moment, but after all, he is the person who holds the power of life and death. To put it bluntly, if someone directly asks her to do such a thing without asking for help from him, she will definitely do it in order to survive. But the difference is whether she was forced or not. At least Li Yangzi stood on a high point and was willing to tell her the truth without hiding it from her, so Lily could instantly figure it out. Thank you. Do you want to enter the mission again, or take a break? Li Yangzi asked, thinking of the previous missionaries who begged for a break to adjust their minds after completing the mission. Looking at the column of the 9 Yang Manual that had dimmed, Lily really couldn't think of any reason why she was qualified to rest. I want to enter the mission. Li Yangzi nodded, and before his figure disappeared, his voice reached Lily's ears. As compensation for your last mission, you can have a good rest on the next mission. After saying this, the scene in front of Lily gradually disappeared. When she woke up, there seemed to be an old woman yelling and scolding next to her. You are a lazy woman who eats all the time and doesn't get up until midnight. You think you are an uncle and I have to wait on you. What the hell? I was with Zhu Xuan'er earlier. I told him not to marry a woman from the city, but he refused to listen, and now he asked me to serve this woman. The last part of the story was a curse of obscene words, and a sense of sadness came to Lily's heart. Come on, this body probably still retains the emotions of the original owner. Tears welled up in his eyes involuntarily when he heard these words. A burst of footsteps gradually faded away, and the door closed with a clang. A large number of plots flooded into her mind. Lily had tasted the pain of half of the plots. Naturally, she did not dare to move at this moment, and endured the burst of pain. With a splitting headache, Lily closed her eyes and took in all the plot and memories, and then she couldn't help but laugh bitterly. There is no vendetta or grievance in this mission. It is indeed as Li Yangzi said. Compared with the previous mission, it is an extremely simple mission. It is just a trivial matter between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. It is just because the original owner died extremely unwillingly in the end. So there was such a mission. The original owner's name is Wang Beihe. He was born in the imperial city of the imperial capital. Although he is not from a prominent family background, his father Wang is an associate professor in a university, and his mother is the director of surgery in a hospital in the imperial capital. She is average, and her parents only have her as a daughter, so she is doted on. Lily Wang has been spoiled since she was a child. She has been smart and sensible since she was a child, and her parents are very reassured about her. She has an average appearance. She is not overly beautiful, but she can also be called a beauty. After going to college, she has the school also gained a reputation for being a flower girl. The story also begins in college. Lily Wang has been smart and sensible since she was a child, and she is good looking, so since junior high school, many people have been sending love letters to her. She does not have the arrogance of a city girl. Jinner is not so beautiful that many men dare not approach her. She has always been popular in the class, and there are many people chasing her, but Lily Wang is the only one who doesn't like anyone, only one person. Lu Xiaoguan came from the remote Beijing to study in the imperial capital. Lu Xiaoguan is tall and handsome, and he has a kind of solidity and stability that is not found in city boys. While other classmates are spending their youth wantonly, Lu Xiaoguan is either studying hard in school or working part-time outside. They all say that after going to college it was a time when many students were free and indulgent, but Lu Xiaoguan did not relax. While others were dressed fashionably and a few friends went to have fun together, he sat quietly in the classroom reading and practicing calligraphy. Many people secretly he was given the name Tu Huo. Whenever he heard others calling him this, he was not annoyed and just smiled. Such a person is completely different from what Lily Wang has encountered before. Unlike most of the boys in the class who like pure and well-behaved girls like Lily Wang, Lu Xiaoguan does not pay too much attention to the gorgeous girls in the class. Among classmates, because of this, when Lily Wang found that her attention was often focused on Lu Xiaoguan seemed to have discovered something, and began to have a relationship with Lily Wang through various opportunities. I'm afraid Lily Wang wouldn't like it if she used other methods. She didn't like impetuous boys, nor did she like those men who dressed up in fashionable and flashy clothes. But Lu Xiaoguan's down-to-earth and steady attitude gradually made her heart move, especially with many of them. When all the boys were attracting the attention of girls on the court, Lu Xiaoguan obviously played basketball well, but he never showed off. It was not until Valentine's Day when Lu Xiaoguan bought a bouquet of roses with his own working money that Wang Bei completely was captured by him and became his girlfriend. This mismatched pair made many people in the class jealous of Lu Xiaoguan, and some also sent blessings. Compared with Lu Xiaoguan, who is not very popular in the class, Wang Bei is cheerful, enthusiastic, and lovable. She has many friends, so there are also many people who wish her love. In front of the innocent and childish feelings, Lily Wang seems to be fascinated by her eyes, unable to see clearly the darkness hidden under this inappropriate relationship. She was born in the imperial capital. Although her family background is not prominent, it is still a well-off family. Her father Wang Zheng and her mother Bai Rong have not treated their only daughter badly. They both believe that sons need to be poor and daughters should be rich. In addition to teaching this daughter to be kind and generous since she was a child, the rest is to dote on her. Lu Xiaoguan was different. He was born in a poor countryside. In addition to him being the eldest brother, there are two younger sisters and a younger brother in his family. One younger sister is already married, while the other two siblings are still very young now, and their parents are both young. He is a person who works as a farmer at home, and his annual income is not high. When she learned that Lu Xiaoguan had to work to earn living expenses and take out loans to study, Wang Bei admired her boyfriend even more. She felt that none of the boys nowadays could be as responsible as Lu Xiaoguan. At an age when she only asked her parents for money, Lu Xiaoguan had already begun to earn her own tuition. While she was a little proud of her sweetheart, the sweet love naturally covered up the gap between the two. 4 years after graduating from college, the two faced the crisis of finding a job and possibly being separated. After 4 years, Wang Bei had fallen deeply in love with Lu Xiaoguan. She could not bear to be separated from her lover, and Lu Xiaoguan expressed his feelings at this time. He was very gloomy. He wanted to stay in Kyoto, but he submitted many resumes and was rejected by some companies. He majored in real estate, but as a newcomer who just graduated, no company would pay much to stay. He came down, and Lu Xiaoguan was very disappointed with the frustration in finding a job. He lost his temper from time to time, and Wang Bei carefully tried to please him in front of him. The sweetest moment was when Lu Xiaoguan finished losing his temper. He hugged her and coaxed her, saying that he wanted to give her a perfect future. Wang Bei quietly asked her father Wang Zheng for help, and found a job for Lu Xiaoguan, a student of Wang Zheng who was doing well now. He successfully stayed in the imperial capital. That period was the sweetest and most beautiful time between the two of them. At that time, if there had not been any talk of marriage later, and if the two of them had only fallen in love without getting married, I am afraid Lily Wang would not have ended up like she did later. To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 136. Lu Xiaoguan finally found a girl in the city. The Lu family was deeply afraid that Lu Xiaoguan would be abandoned by Lily Wang. The two had just graduated. Once Lu Xiaoguan found a job, the Lu family began to urge the two to get married. Although Wang Zheng and his wife initially thought that the two of them were still young and should stay in love for 2 more years, Wang Bei had already been dazzled by love at this time. She thought about how she had communicated with Mother Lu on the phone before. The person on the phone was a warm and simple person. Lu Xiaoguan did not hide her existence, and he was really dating her for marriage, which proved that he was not playing tricks on himself. Wang Bei ignored her parents' opposition and insisted on marrying Lu Xiaoguan, and the tragedy unfolded from here. Before getting married, according to the custom at this time, no matter whether the man's family had money or not, he should give some betrothal gifts to show his respect for the woman. However, Ms. Lu didn't arrive, so she called Lily Wang to complain, saying that she still had 2 children at home. She is studying and her family can't come up with money for the time being. Please beg Lily Wang to slow down and allow her to sell the 2 pigs she just raised at home and then give her a gift of 3,000 yuan. When she heard this, Lily Wang was so moved that she almost burst into tears. She felt that she didn't care about the money, but what she cared about was Mother Lu's feelings. 3,000 yuan was not enough for the pocket money her parents gave her when she was in college. The part she spent on Lu Xiaoguan was a year's hope for Mother Lu. Lily Wang refused Mother Lu's request for money and enthusiastically gave Mother Lu 10,000 yuan. In the past, Lily Wang smiled with satisfaction as she listened to Mother Lu calling her new daughter on the phone. At this point in the plot, Lily had to lament that the original owner was so cute and stupid at that time, but the plot came to an end here. It doesn't mean that this is the end of the matter. If it ends here, I'm afraid she won't have anything to do with her anymore. Wang Bei married into the Lu family. The wedding was first held in the city. Not many relatives of the Lu family came forward. Lu Xiaoguan insisted on returning to his hometown to hold a wedding. Wang Bei also agreed, but this trip was like tearing apart Lu's family. The true appearance of the family made Lily Wang want to cry without tears. There are always many rules in the countryside. As soon as Lily Wang arrived at the Lu family, she eats last and does the most work. Mother Lu is deeply afraid that her daughter-in-law in the city will look down on her in the future and refuse to treat her the way she did before she got married, not to mention that in Mother Lu's eyes, she looks stupid. Lily was already Lu Xiaoguan's, and she was no longer perfect. Even without Lu Xiaoguan, she was just a broken shoe, so she was not afraid that she would regret it now, and her face became colder towards her. She would get up before dawn in the morning and ask her to do the cooking and laundry, and also help her cook pig food. Moreover, in order to find face in front of the villagers, Wang Bei went to great lengths to ruin her. After training her until she was worse than a dog, seeing the sighing and envious faces of the villagers, and seeing Lily Wang's expression of being angry but afraid to speak, Mother Lu seemed to have found a sense of satisfaction, and became even more aggressive. During the day, Lily Wang did not dare to show dissatisfaction in front of Mother Lu. She had been well educated by her parents since childhood and could not bear to talk back to her elders, so she could only act coquettishly towards Lu Xiaoguan behind her back. At the beginning, Lu Xiaoguan was impatient to coax her, but as time went by, it was best not to get it after all. Once he got Wang Beihe and was sure that she was already his, Lu Xiaoguan was not happy to always be like before. He provided for her like that, and because of Mother Lu's display, many people in the village jokingly called him the prince consort. Lu Xiaoguan was always a proud character, but now he couldn't stand it anymore, and he became completely impatient with Lily Wang. In order to be afraid that others would misunderstand him, he became even more harsh on Lily Wang. Many country women may not be able to do things, but he demanded everything from Lily Wang, until Lily Wang's pride was worn away, and he watched her day by day. After the despair subsided, Lu Xiaoguan felt a perverted pleasure in his heart. After getting married, Lily Wang began to realize that her marriage was not as happy as she had imagined. She now remembered the advice her parents had given her. She had always thought that all marriages in the world were the same as those of her parents. The husband and wife were extremely loving. Grandma and grandma were reasonable. When she was born, her name came from the love between her parents. She felt miserable in her heart at the moment, but whenever Lu Xiaoguan lowered his face and coaxed her, she tolerated it again. Fortunately, the time in her hometown was not too long, so after the wedding of the two, Wang Beihe couldn't wait to drag Lu Xiaoguan back to the imperial capital. Her behavior as if she was fleeing once again made Lu Xiaoguan, a sensitive man, suffer. The injury later became one of the evidences he used to convict Lily Wang, thinking that she looked down on her hometown, refused to stay there longer, and was filial to her parents. However, Lily Wang was too naive at the time to think that much. After getting married, the couple would definitely move out. Houses in the imperial capital cost a lot of money, and they might not be able to afford it in 10 lifetimes with the Lu family's money from farming. To buy a house, Wang Zheng spent 3 million to buy a 200 square meter loft house for his daughter. At that time, Mother Lu made a special trip to the imperial capital for this matter, and coaxed her in person to Lily Wang. She was crying again, and she almost knelt down. Lily Wang, a silly girl, could not stand the various methods of Mother Lu, so she was so dizzy that she agreed to write the names of the couple on this house as a sign of proof that I love Lu Xiaoguan. At that time, many relatives came to persuade her, but Wang Beihe seemed determined to have a good life with Lu Xiaoguan. When people advised her to be careful, she felt that they were cursing the love between her and Lu Xiaoguan, and she refused to believe it. After buying the house, she also became pregnant. On the pretext of coming to serve her, Mother Lu moved her bags to the imperial capital to enjoy the blessings. All day long, Mother Lu did not take care of her at all. Instead, she said that she had worked hard all her life and needed someone to take care of her, so she asked her, a newly pregnant girl, to wash and cook. Later, Mother Lu even gave birth to her 2 children. After arriving in the imperial capital, he also coaxed Wang Beihe through Lu Xiaoguan to move his eldest daughter's children's household registration to Wang Beihe's house. From then on, more and more Lu family members lived in the house, and Wang Beihe became more and more popular in this house. The less confident she was, the less qualified she was to speak. The Lu family often held family meetings, but a foreign wife like her was not qualified to listen. She became more and more like a dependent person in her own house. 2 years passed like this after giving birth to the child. Mother Lu was very clever in her ways. She was extremely affectionate to her in front of others, but she always said bad things about her behind her back. The advice from her neighbors and the harsh treatment she received from Mother Lu behind her back made Wang Beihe more and more frustrated. She became increasingly unhappy, suffering from depression, and the thought of dying often lingered in her heart. One time, after she and Lu's mother couldn't bear to argue, Lu Xiaoguan, who was already dissatisfied with her all-day-long struggle, reached out and had sex with her. After beating her, Wang Bei angrily carried the child back to her parents' home. Mother Lu deliberately packed up 2 pieces of her clothes to make a show of going back to her hometown. Lu Xiaoguan forcefully took Lily Wang to her hometown to apologize to Mother Lu. When being held up by a group of people and kneeling in front of Mother Lu, Lily Wang was so regretful that she could not speak. The eyes of the people around her had long lost the original envy and respect in their eyes. They were all laughing at her for marrying a city girl. When she went to the countryside, she was tortured like this. People secretly laughed at her for being worthless than the prostitutes in ancient times. Even the humblest woman in the village could not be as worthless as her when she got married, spending nothing and giving money to her. Not to mention, now I am even more abused by my husband's family. What's serious is that after Wang Bei returned to the imperial capital in despair, she found that her mother Bai Rong was seriously ill and had died a few days ago. When her mother died, she was not around, but was forced to kneel in front of Mother Lu. Wang Bei almost went crazy for a while. Her father Wang Zheng was extremely disappointed with her because he had called Bai Rong countless times before she passed away. Lily Wang, but Lily Wang didn't answer. She remembered that her cell phone was given to his sister by Lu Xiaoguan just because Lu Xiaoguan's sister said she liked that cell phone, and Lily Wang went completely crazy. She didn't get divorced before not only because of her true love, but also because she had children. She couldn't bear to let her children become children of a single-parent family, so she endured everything. In addition, nothing major happened, so she kept insisting. She endured it, but Bai Rong's death became the last straw for her. Coupled with Wang Zheng's hatred for her, Lily Wang began to insist on divorce. Once Lily Wang made up her mind, the Lu family became afraid. At first, they tried their best to persuade Lily Wang to stay, but later, when they saw that Lily Wang was very determined, they began to ask for the division of the property. The one who originally listed his house as Lu Xiaoguan for love Lily Wang did something stupid that made her resent her whole life. She began to regret it. The Lu family went to court. There was no marriage law at that time. She watched her father's lifelong hard-earned money being divided by the Lu family. Halfway through, the Lu family still wanted to compete with her for children. She had no support from her parents and was isolated and helpless. However, Lu Xiaoguan had made a prosperous life through the influence of the Wang family over the years. He had friends all over the place, and the child was naturally given to the Lu family in the end. Unfortunately, the Lu family did not cherish the child after they got it, so the child died after a small accident. When Lily Wang knew all this, she almost didn't go crazy. She went to see Wang Zheng, but Wang Zheng hated her very much. She went to her relatives and elders for help. The relatives all thought that she was to blame. They asked her not to marry Lu Xiaoguan, but she refused to listen. Now she ends up like this. You deserved the end. In the end, Wang Zheng hated his only daughter to the core. He used to like this daughter, but now he hated her because his wife Xiongru Yumo died. Later, he married a nanny hired to take care of him and left all his family property behind. Given to an outsider, Lily Wang was left alone. Her depression became more serious after the child was gone. To be continued. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 137. Seeing that the Lu family had made a fortune relying on her, but she ended up like this. She couldn't see her beloved mother for the last time, and instead had to kneel in front of a mean woman who didn't like her. Lily Wang couldn't bear it. More importantly, she accidentally learned that Lu Xiaoguan didn't actually like her that much when he fell in love with the original owner. It was just because among a group of girls, the original owner was the most innocent and cute, and she didn't have any boys like other women. A friend is like changing clothes, he is just a clean virgin. That's why Lu Xiaoguan fell in love with Lily Wang. Knowing this truth was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. The love in Lily Wang's imagination turned out to be just her own fantasy, and naturally she couldn't hold on any longer. When Lily finished receiving the plot, she really didn't know what to say. Lily Wang was obviously from a good background, and her natal family's status was not at the same level as that of the Lu family. Her parents were happily married. Logically speaking, no matter how she ended up, it was impossible for her to end up like this. Just because of a word of love, her eyes were blinded, causing her to die in pain. After sorting out the plot in my mind, this mission is indeed not difficult. As long as the Lu family is tortured and the original owner is vented, the original owner will be satisfied. As for Bai Rong's death, if she can, of course she will be saved. If she cannot be saved, then she will make up for the regret of the original owner. As for the child with Lu Xiaoguan who died young, Lily is not planning to have another child. Now she comes a little later, and it is already Lu Xiaoguan and Wang. Lily had just had the wedding reception, otherwise she might have felt more comfortable. At this moment, the time should be after the original owner and Lu Xiaoguan held a wedding reception in the city, at the invitation of the Lu family. This time she went back to Lu Xiaoguan's hometown to hold a wedding banquet. The irony is that no matter it is a wedding reception held in the city, it's better to go back to Lu Xiaoguan's hometown to hold a wedding banquet. The money was all paid by the Wang family. Wang Bei he thought it was love at first, but he paid for it but couldn't be regarded as an uncle. Thinking that the mean voice just now should be Lu Xiaoguan's mother, Mother Lu, Lily couldn't bear it. He couldn't help but let out another long sigh. After receiving the plot, Lily's mind was still a little dizzy and uncomfortable. Just as he was about to sit up, the door that had been forcefully closed at the door was suddenly pushed open again, and a tall figure came in with his head lowered and a cold look at Lily. "Zia he, what's the matter with you? You're already married to me, why do you still want mom to cook for you?" This young man looks about 24 or 5 years old, with a square face, thick eyebrows and big eyes, he has a masculine look and is tall. It has a very charming taste. Lily recognized Lu Xiaoguan at a glance, and felt a sense of nausea in her heart. There are more tasks to be done. Whether he is indecisive or shameless like Song Tiankai before, Bei he has seen them all a lot, but this is the first time he has seen such a thick-faced and sinister person like Lu Xiaoguan. Logically speaking, he doesn't care about Lily Wang. There is no emotion, but Lily Wang has paid so much for him. When he was in school, which of Lu Xiaoguan's clothes, shoes, and socks was not bought by Lily Wang? Even the laptop and mobile phone he is using now are all credit cards swiped by Lily Wang. I don't know where he got the nerve to scold the original owner. But the original owner likes him, but that doesn't mean he likes him too. Fortunately, the plot was still starting when Wang Beihe and Lu Xiaoguan returned to their hometown for the wedding. It was still early and did not come to the time when they lived in the house and gave birth to the child. It was also because it was this morning that Lu's mother was so mean. He scolded her a few words. Wang Beihe had been loved and cared for by her parents since she was a child. How could she have ever been wronged like this? In addition, she really couldn't sleep on the earthen bed. She didn't close her eyes until dawn when she got into bed last night. In the morning she got up a little late, and regardless of the fact that her new daughter-in-law still had 3 days of buffering time, Mother Lu simply stopped treating her as an outsider's servant. She followed a group of village women all day long to wash and cook. She was scolded like a slave. It was the cold weather now. This was the first time Lily Wang did such a thing. When she returned home, her delicate hands were cracked and her mouth hurt all winter long. From then on, she suffered from chilblains. Lily was no longer so stupid now. When she heard that Lu Xiaoguan dared to scold her, she sneered twice, wrapped herself in a quilt, pointed at her clothes and said, "Bring me my down jacket." As soon as she finished speaking, Lu Xiaoguan instinctively took the clothes to her, but the door was suddenly knocked open. Mother Lu's sturdy figure got in, pointed at Lily and gave her a big meal. He scolded, "You shameless bastard, you dare to instruct my son to do things. Yesterday, his shoes pressed against your shoes, which proves that you will obey him for the rest of your life, and you won't give it to men now. Forget it, you dare to ask our Xiaoguan to get it for you." Mother Lu was not such a virtuous person when she complained to Lily Wang and asked for money on the phone. Her voice at that time was so weak that it sounded like 800. It's like he hasn't eaten in years. Now she was scolding people with great force. If she was timid and thin-skinned, she would have blushed so much that she couldn't find a place to hide. However, Lily didn't make a sound, just frowned. He stared at Mother Lu with a surprised expression on his brows. After a while, he turned to Lu Xiaoguan and scolded him, "You shameless stinky man, did you lie to me? Is this your mother? You obviously don't know where this came from. A shrew with such qualities dares to ask me to call her mom. Lu Xiaoguan, are you crazy?" The two had just gotten married at this time, and Lu Xiaoguan was not in a successful career later on, so he actually had no confidence in his heart when facing Lily at this moment. He was too soft to struggle and resist, and he did not dare to have the courage to talk about divorce. In fact, Lu Xiaoguan was still very respectable in the countryside when he could marry a wife in the city. At first, he was very fond of Lily Wang. Later, she was brainwashed step by step by Mother Lu, and she also believed that she had ruined Lily Wang's body. Even if she got divorced, she would no longer be a blank slate. In the words of the country people, she would be a pair of broken shoes, so she was more and more jealous of her. Becoming more and more confident. Lu Xiaoguan is the most honorable person. He is the most promising person in the Lu family and later became the vice president of a company. But in fact, he has always had low self-esteem in his heart. His poor background is his flaw. Because of this, he had been dating Lily Wang for several years, but he never brought Lily Wang to his hometown because he was afraid that she would break up with him as soon as she saw the poverty in his hometown until she had a wedding ceremony with him. After that, Lu Xiaoguan dared to take the man back home. He also believed that Lily Wang was married to him and could not run away easily, so he dared to do so. However, he later attributed his cowardice and incompetence to Lily Wang's fault. It was because of her arrogant temper that her mother knew that she had such a future daughter-in-law, but she had not seen Lily Wang for 4 full years. Whenever there was a conflict between the couple later, he would take advantage of her. These crimes were recounted to Lily Wang one by one until she was speechless, and then she was satisfied and ignored her. But Lily is not as easy to bully as her original owner. If Mother Lu wants to intimidate her, it depends on whether she is willing to accept it. She knew Lu Xiaoguan's character very well. Now she didn't have to lose face and yell at Mother Lu. As long as she showed a bit of contempt in front of Lu Xiaoguan would naturally give Mother Lu a head start. He is filial, but the premise of filial piety is that it does not harm his own interests. Whether it is Lily Wang serving a large family for him in the plot, as long as he uses his words, he will naturally say the best in everything. If it were left to him, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to bear it and would just let it go. What's the point of being filial? People like Lu Xiaoguan are pretending to be filial. The Lu family was originally very poor, and he felt inferior and afraid of being known to have such a mother. Later, when Lu Xiaoguan became famous, he was naturally afraid that others would look down on his mother, but this time when his son had nothing, if someone looked a little surprised at Mother Lu's behavior because of this, he would definitely be dissatisfied based on his character. In the past, Lily Wang was deeply afraid of hurting his sensitive and fragile self-esteem, so she didn't dare to show him such a look. Even when she spoke, she had to think about it several times in her mind before she dared to speak it out. lived in her own home to the point where she was even careful about what she said. Thinking of the love Wang Zheng and Bai Rong had for their daughter in the plot, Bai He couldn't help but sigh for the original owner. However, it was the original owner Wang Beihe who was concerned about Lu Xiaoguan's self-esteem, not her. Naturally, she wanted to make Lu Xiaoguan unhappy no matter what. Anyway, the original owner was so good to Lu Xiaoguan, but in the end he also found out all his faults. Since the two of them have been together in this life after getting married, it seems that the Lu family will definitely not let go of such a cash cow like her. If they don't take the opportunity to vent their anger on the original owner's behalf, I'm afraid this task will not be easy to complete. Lily rolled her eyes and looked at Mother Lu with contempt. She had that kind of temperament that Mother Lu couldn't describe. She had done several tasks, including those of the top actors. She looked like a person now. Don't be angry and assertive. Although Mother Lu has a strong personality, she doesn't have much knowledge. In addition, she was really nervous when she saw her daughter-in-law in the city. Therefore, her arrogance was lowered and she subconsciously looked up at her son. Lu Xiaoguan's face turned green and white at the moment. He was deeply hurt by Lily's unexplainable look in her eyes, which made him hate both Lily and his mother for embarrassing him. He thought of Lily Wang's big. The young lady had a bad temper and didn't want her to get into trouble with her mother later, so she picked up a piece of clothing and threw it at Lily's face in annoyance. It's just a piece of clothing, mother, what are you doing here? To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 138. After being scolded by her son angrily, Mother Lu was a little at a loss. She moved her lips, wanting to say something, but before she could speak, Lily put on her clothes and flipped up her hair. Give it to me again, bring me a basin of water. I want to wash my face. This is a lousy place. It doesn't even have a heater, but it's freezing to death. I can't even go to the toilet. Lu Xiaoguan, I'm telling you, I'll be leaving next year at the most. If you want to stay alone, just stay alone for as long as you want. Wang Beihe, don't push yourself too far. After hearing this, Mother Lu instinctively wanted to get angry. In her opinion, how could her son, who is like a human being, do such a thing as fetching water and handing over clothes? It is a natural thing for a woman to serve a man. Mother Lu was afraid that Lily Wang was of high birth and that her son from the city would not be able to suppress her, but her son insisted on liking her. In addition, Lily Wang, a fool, had given her a total of nearly $100,000. Even for the sake of money, Mother Lu could not let go of this god of wealth. Coupled with the contact on the phone in the past 2 years, Mother Lu could also see that Lily Wang was a brainless woman. In order to be afraid of her future, she disliked the fact that her Lu family was poor, so when she came back this time, her mother Lu was ready to show her off. Unexpectedly, she was given a look by that damn girl Lily instead. What the hell are you? You're lying under a man and being ridden. You dare to ask my son to help you fetch water and wash your face. You're not afraid that luck will come too soon. God will take your life early in the future. Mother Lu cursed. Opening his mouth, the original owner Wang Beihe was not from a scholarly family, but her parents were both well-educated people. She had never heard such insults. If I heard this, I would be furious, but Beihe's expression did not change at this moment. Just sneered twice. Lu Xiaoguan. You can do it? You don't need to find an extra to trick me, right? Are you joking with me? Lily gave Lu Xiaoguan a naughty smile. Lu Xiaoguan was sure that Lu Xiaoguan was just playing around with her. Lu Xiaoguan felt bitter in his heart but said, "This is my mother. Empress, Empress, the country is dead. Who else can call me Empress in this era?" Lily turned away her head disdainfully, while arranging her hair. It's so poor here, there are no shopping malls or supermarkets. I want to go back, got it? Today is the first day for the two of them to hold a banquet in the countryside. Mother Lu has already agreed to hold a flowing banquet for 3 days. If Lily Wang is going to run away on the first day now, where will she find it in the next few days? The bride is going? Lu Xiaoguan didn't expect that Lily Wang would be so willful. He was ashamed and angry for a moment, wishing he could also sneer at him. He seemed particularly arrogant because of the extreme inferiority in his heart. At this moment, he was naturally dissatisfied with Lily's attitude when talking to him. Although he didn't say he was dissatisfied, Lu Xiaoguan actually wanted everyone to support him. Treat him as an uncle. At this moment, he wanted to rebel, but he realized that he couldn't lose his temper at this moment. Otherwise, Lily will be angry and run away, and then it will be you who will be embarrassed and lose face. He had always been filial and refused to lose any composure in front of his parents, so he suppressed the anger in his heart and sent the unhappy mother Lu out with a cold face, then turned to look at Lily, eyes a look of impatience flashed past, and then he took a deep breath and squatted in front of Lily, forcing out a smile. Zia, what's going on? Do you think your husband is poor? Didn't you know that my family's financial situation was not good before? Huh? Why are you losing your temper now? Lily suppressed her nausea and glanced at him. Lu Xiaoguan, I knew your family was poor before, but I didn't know your family was so poor. You should have told me earlier that I would spend 50 or 60,000 to help your family repair their house. Ah, is 50,000 or 60,000 enough? Now you are letting me sleep here when you come back. If your family is so poor, you can't even rent a house, right? She looked willful and angry, as if she had been cheated into a marriage. Feeling of anger. When Lu Xiaoguan heard her say that her family was extremely poor beyond her imagination, she felt hurt in her heart, but she did not dare to show it on her face. Zia, be good, be obedient, and finish this wedding properly. What do you want to eat? My husband will buy it for you later. Just bear with it, ancestor, please. Lu Xiaoguan, such a grown man, has never been so humble in Lily Wang's memory. Now he is willing to bow his head and beg for help after Lily's willfulness. Sure enough, it's really a rush and it's really not a deal. Lily Wang is completely obedient to him. What she got in return was Lu Xiaoguan's cold eyes and the Lu family's bullying. Now Lily became fierce and became a bad woman who no longer tolerated or cared about Lu Xiaoguan's face. He not only begged in a low voice, but was also willing to do it for her. I bought my own snacks. He doesn't care about the good things to him, but he always smiles when the bad things are done to him. The corners of Lily's mouth curled up, with a sarcastic look in her eyes. She ignored Lu Xiaoguan and snorted coldly, but she acquiesced. In the middle of winter, a layer of cold sweat broke out on Lu Xiaoguan's forehead. Seeing that Lily finally stopped making trouble and wanted to leave, he felt relieved. But thinking about the scene where he had just begged and coaxed her, he felt a little unhappy. So he stood up and said, I'm going to see if mother has prepared breakfast first, and then I'll ask Lianzi to bring you some face wash, and you can make do with it. Worried that Lily would make trouble again, Lu Xiaoguan reluctantly, after a few words of comfort, he walked out without looking back. While washing her face, one of Wang Bei's classmates called. When she took out her stylish and beautiful cell phone with a film and waved it in front of Lu Lian's eyes were almost glued to it when she brought the water in, and she couldn't take it back. Waiting until Lily after washing his face, he refused to leave, making it clear that he would wait for her to finish the phone call and ask for her mobile phone. Lily knew what she was thinking, but she refused to hang up the phone. This sister-in-law looked young. She had just entered junior high school, but she had many evil intentions. The original owner was tricked a lot by her in the plot, and she was not young enough. She loves to pick on people. Because of her relationship, Lily Wang has always been affected by Mother Lu's idleness. When Lily saw Lu Lian, she naturally didn't have a good impression and deliberately told a joke for a long time. She has experienced several missions. If she is sincere, she wanted to chat with someone, not to mention chatting for hours. Even if she chatted for 10 days and a half, Lulian felt uncomfortable waiting, and tried to interrupt her several times, but Lily ignored her until more than an hour afterwards. Relatives, friends from outside and people from the village came one after another, all calling to see the bride. Then Mother Lu came in with a dark face and called for people. "You're lying dead in the house. It's not like mother and son, you can't see anyone. People have been waiting outside for a long time. What are you doing here secretly meeting a wild man?" Mother Lu felt very unhappy after being angry at Lily this morning. She knew very well that Lily was from the city. In order to prevent Lily from looking down on her in the future, she had to give her a warning and let her know that she was afraid. Maybe she will obey her words, but she asked her son last night. The Wang family is a rich family. What kind of professor is Lily Wang's father? He earns 2 to 300,000 a year, and there are various subsidies. He has a lot of money. And Lily Wang's mother is also great. She is a leading surgical expert, with an annual income of 20,000 to 30,000 yuan. The two couples have saved a lot of money after working for many years. Mother Lu used to think that Lily Wang gave her 10,000 to 20,000 yuan. It was enough to make her extremely happy. Now when she heard about the hundreds of thousands, she almost got dizzy with joy. As long as he suppressed Lily Wang and she married into the Lu family and became a member of the Lu family, the Wang family's couple had no future and only gave birth to a girl named Pianzi. From now on, wouldn't it be all about what he said? As long as he can control Lily Wang, the Wang family and his wife will be like making money for his Lu family. Her Lu family will have great potential in the future. Because of this, Mother Lu started to look at Lily early in the morning. She originally wanted to make Lily afraid, and before she could react, she planted the seed in her heart that she must be afraid of herself and obey her orders. Based on my own thoughts, who would have expected that things haven't even started yet? The little girl who used to be very easy to fool around on the phone didn't know who she learned from, but now she started to put on airs. With a sullen face, she pointed at Sang and scolded Hui. On the surface, Mother Lu was scolding her daughter, but in reality, who had the eyes to know who she really wanted to scold? Seeing Mother Lu's face, Lily rolled her eyes deliberately and said loudly, "Okay, I won't talk about it for now. What happened on my side is really funny. Lu Xiaoguan actually has a lot of younger brothers and sisters at home. He also call him mother, ha ha ha, have you ever heard such an old-fashioned name?" After she said this, she paused, and when she saw Mother Lu's face turned blue with anger, she felt happy. Many, deliberately acting arrogant, "Forget it, I'm going to hang up, his mother is still waiting for me." What? You said you are afraid that he will be angry with me? Just because Lu Xiaoguan is like this? He has nothing but me, who can I marry? If you dare to show off to this girl, I'll divorce him. It's hard to find a three-legged toad, but there are plenty of two-legged men in the world. It's not like he is the only one. My parents can give it to me. Introduce someone, they are queuing up to wait for me. Mother Lu always believed that it was natural for a woman to take care of her husband and raise her children after she got married, but she didn't expect that Lily would dare to ask for divorce now. Divorce is a very shameful thing in the countryside. She wants to be criticized. Mother Lu used to think this way, thinking that Lily Wang would never dare to mention divorce after marrying her son. After all, she was no longer a virgin, but now Lily doesn't seem to care at all. The way this happened, and he also said that he would look for someone else, wasn't this an obvious cuckolding of his son? Mother Lu felt unhappy and a little scared, so she turned around and went out with a sullen face. When she left, she was so angry that she grabbed her daughter and slammed the door shut. To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 139. There was a loud bang sound, and the door panel shook twice, and a stream of dust fell down. Mother Lu felt a little sorry for her door panel. If she tried hard to close the door, it wouldn't be worth it, but thinking about what Lily just said then, she hurriedly went to find her son, and told her what Lily had just said very unhappily. When Lu Xiaoguan heard Mother Lu saying that Lily wanted to find someone else, she thought that Lily Wang was a well-known figure in the school. She is beautiful and has a good temper, and her family background is not too bad. Such a person will not be considered difficult to reach. She is also a SpecialAbilities, so she is the best candidate to be a wife. In addition, Professor Wang has taught for many years and has many students all over the world. There are people who really like Lily. In fact, the real beauties in the school may not be as attractive as SpecialAbilities like Wang Beihe. There were countless people chasing her at the beginning, and now the city does not care about women's chastity as much as before. Although I don't know why Lily Wang fell in love with him in the first place, men love to compete. Even dragon meat doesn't taste as good as thick pancakes when no one is competing with him. But now if someone is competing with him, Lu Xiaoguan suddenly felt something bad in his heart. His face was burning. At this moment, he secretly regretted that he should not have listened to my mother and brought Lily Wang back to his hometown to hold the wedding just to show off. She doesn't like her family anymore. What should she do if she wants to file for divorce in the future? She is not from her hometown, no matter how much people gossip, she is not the one who is unlucky. She is born here. Who doesn't know her as the top scholar who passed the Imperial Capital University? If you are abandoned by a young lady in the city, won't you be criticized and laughed at when you return to the village? Even if Lily is just talking. She is just a girl of a willful age. It's very embarrassing even to say it. Lu Xiaoguan sighed and lowered his head without saying anything. Mother Lu pushed him, "Boss, you have to think clearly for yourself. This kind of woman doesn't take men seriously at all. If she had known better, she would have it would be nice to marry a woman from the village who would serve you every day." Mother Lu was nagging, and Lu Xiaoguan was already upset. At this moment, she was even more annoyed by the quarrel from Mother Lu, and she couldn't help but said, "Mom, if you like the people in the village and I don't like them, don't mention it again in the future, let alone marrying a woman from the village." "Who gave you that money?" Lu Xiaoguan felt very unhappy. He had an honest image in front of his classmates, but truly honest people couldn't look down on those slovenly men in the village. They would run around behind men with bare feet all day long. He is more open-minded about making dirty jokes than many men. Although such a woman is hard-working, she is not beautiful after all. He is not very educated and would be embarrassed to be taken out of the village. What's more, he wants to work in the imperial capital, not in the village. After being scolded by her son, and thinking of the nearly 100,000 yuan that Lily Wang gave her, Mother Lu became silent. She relied on this 100,000 yuan, and her life had become much better in the past 2 years. When it came to other things, there was something to say, but once Jian Lu's mother was mentioned, she stopped being affectionate. By the way, she came back with 10,000 yuan this time. "I'm afraid it's not enough. We have a banquet. You can ask her for another 10,000 yuan. In fact, 10,000 yuan is enough to host a banquet in the village, but in this way, Mother Lu cannot get much of the middle income. Seeing that her son is about to enter high school, she has to prepare some for him. I heard that he will study for 1 semester after entering high school. The tuition fee is 1 to 2,000 yuan, plus living expenses. Mother Lu doesn't want to wrong her son, but the family has such land, and she has to raise a child, and it's impossible for her to help her for the rest of her life. Anyway, the Wang family is raising a girl named Jianzi. The money the couple will save in the future will not belong to their Lu family, but they will be used in advance. In the eyes of Mother Lu, it is only natural." At this time, Lu Xiaoguan had just started working. He had little money in his hands, and he was not like the high-spirited Mr. Lu later. He raised his head and his chest became hard. At this time, he knew the situation at home, although he was a little tired of his mother. This virtue, but in his heart he believed that it was normal for him as a grown man to support his family since he graduated from school. Although he could not provide the money, the Wang family did have money, and the Wang family only had one daughter. Wang Zheng and his wife had always he believed in the principle that his daughter should be well off, so he never squandered her living conditions. The Wang couple had a monthly income of about 50,000 yuan, so they could give their daughter a pocket money of 10,000 yuan. So when he was studying, the tuition fee was Lily Wang paid for the living expenses, and she was afraid that she would waste time studying while working, so the living expenses were also covered, allowing him to focus more on his studies, and finally graduated with honors. Thinking of this, Lily Wang does have a good family situation, not to mention that she is his own after marrying him, so Lu Xiaoguan doesn't think there is anything wrong with Mother Lu doing this, but he always hears her crying in front of him when he is incompetent. He was just a little impatient, as if he was trying to get benefits from himself. That feeling really made Lu Xiaoguan feel very uncomfortable. The two mother and son had just finished their discussion, and Lily had already hung up the phone. She ignored Lu Lian's eyes and went out directly. Not only had she been to the Lu family yesterday, but the Lu family was also involved in the plot, so she went out familiar with the family. She opened the door and sat down directly in the dam. She was not as stupid as the original owner. She was ordered around by Mother Lu. Now she took out her mobile phone and started playing. While playing, she also scolded the signal here for not being good, with a look on her face. With such a pampered look, no one dared to come close. Wang Beihe, this is too much. A man is accompanying a guest. What are you doing with your wife's family? After Lu's mother discussed with her son, she came out and saw Lily sitting in the crowd. Many people in the village did not have access to mobile phones at all. After seeing her luxurious mobile phone, many people looked in her direction, looking a little curious and a little confused when they saw the games on her mobile phone. Many children surrounded her, but she looked noble and silent. Mother Lu couldn't see her being in the limelight like that. Even if she wanted to be in the limelight, she had to do it herself. She imagined that she was surrounded by everyone like Lafayette, and Lily Lu was waiting for her everywhere. There was a smile in her eyes, and she was about to curse again. After a few words to save Lily's face, Lily stood up with a sullen face. You are not a woman? You were not born of a woman? What's wrong with women? In the Lu family, except for the eldest son, Mother Lu was the undisputed mistress. When she heard that Lily dared to contradict her like this in public, and everyone looked at her with ridicule and surprise in their eyes, she was immediately furious. Suddenly rushed towards Lily and was about to hit her. Lily strangled her neck and said, "Hit me. If you dare to hit me, I will send Lu Xiaoguan to jail later. If you dare to touch a hair on my head, I will divorce Lu Xiaoguan and call the police immediately." These words immediately stunned Mother Lu. She was a country woman. She didn't know anything about divorce papers. When she heard that she was going to jail for beating Lily and Lu Xiaoguan, Mother Lu was so frightened that she didn't dare to move. She said bitterly, "Stare at Lily." Lily peeled the peanuts on the table and ate them. While looking at Mother Lu, she sneered, "What kind of arrogance does a country woman put on me? Who do you think you are? You want to teach me a lesson? My mother is still reluctant to lay a finger on me. You still want to hit me? Lu Xiaoguan, get out of here, I'm going back, and the 10,000 yuan your mother asked me to get will be given away to her." Everyone was so angry that they didn't dare to say anything. They all felt that city people were aloof. Many people saw that Lu's mother went around to show off to others that her daughter-in-law in the city obeyed her, but now they didn't expect that this daughter-in-law didn't know that she was not a fuel-efficient lamp when she came. He also boasted that this girl married into the Lu family with her mother-in-law. Now seeing that Mother Lu couldn't control Lily Wang, she couldn't help but want to laugh at her. "What's going on?" Before Lu Xiaoguan could sit down in the room, he heard Lily Wang screaming outside. When he came out, he saw that Mother Lu's arms had not been lowered, and he saw Lily's expression of reluctance. Looking like this, I couldn't help but feel tired and a little annoyed. "Mom, what's going on?" He didn't call her mother again, which made Lily understand this man's character better. She couldn't help but sneered twice in her heart, but she had a more arrogant look on her face. "Your mother dares to hit me. Lu Xiaoguan, you are a loser. You can't even protect your wife. What's the use of me bringing you here? Divorce." Being scolded and cried by Lily in front of everyone, Lu Xiaoguan's face was burning, but now he didn't dare to let his temper go even if he felt embarrassed, so he suppressed his anger, took Lily's hand and shouted, "Honey, my mother is ignorant. What do you have to say to your husband? Why are you saying such angry words?" She said she wanted a divorce just after the banquet was laid. Lily was really too willful. Lu Xiaoguan felt very anxious at the moment. Didn't dare to show off to Lily, so they had to coax her with nice words for a long time, and then peeled peanuts for Lily and pinched her back. Only then did Lily look at Mother Lu, who was turning blue with anger, and sat down proudly. People around him were staring at Mr. Lu with strange expressions, but he couldn't care about it at the moment. He could only coax Lily to get better first. When Mother Lu saw this scene, her face suddenly became gloomy. If she couldn't control Lily Wang's little cry today, she knew that she might have no room to speak between the two couples in the future. Although Mother Lu was not clearly trained in scheming, she had instinctively developed these insights during her decades of living in the Lu family. She was originally going to give Lily a show of strength, but if the show of force did not work the other way around. If someone catches him, he will no longer be able to stand up in front of Lily. She is an old lady who wants to enjoy the blessing of a son. She wants Lily Wang, a daughter-in-law in the city, to serve her and let her live the addiction of being a queen mother. How can she laugh with Lily in the future? What she wants is for Lily Wang to come to her door automatically with money and serve her well. To be continued. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 140. Thinking of this, Mother Lu patted her thighs unceremoniously and sat down on the ground, bending and straightening her back and howling, "My life is miserable. I finally raised such a son, but now I have to marry such a bitch. You're angry with me. I haven't even called you mother since I walked in yesterday." Lily knew that this group of people in the village were used to sympathizing with the weak. Of course, they would look down on those who were too weak and would only laugh at them. However, as an elder like Mother Lu, who had to cry out in front of her daughter-in-law about her unfilial piety, most of them would sympathize. She, Lily, never thought about leaving a good reputation for Mother Lu, so it was naturally impossible for public opinion to side with the Lu family. What she wanted was to make the Lu family unable to hold their head high in the village. Mother Lu was like this. Crying was just what she wanted, so Lily sneered twice, lowered her head and stared at Mother Lu. "Why are you working so hard to raise a son? I have raised Lu Xiaoguan for the past 4 years. If you have breasts, you are your mother. I paid hundreds of thousands of tuition fees for him. Shouldn't he call me mother now? And why do you marry me? I didn't give you the money for the wedding? Lu Xiaoguan married into my Wang family. You wanted me to call you, but you didn't even give me any money to change your story. Instead, I gave you 10,000 yuan and didn't ask you to change your story. Just call me ancestor." Lily spoke sharply and spoke so bluntly that the faces of the Lu family changed drastically. A fierce look flashed in Mother Lu's eyes before Lily curled her lips. Just as she was about to speak, a woman holding a child squeezed over. Sister-in-law, that's not what you said. This is Lu Xiaoguan's other sister. People in the countryside here get married early, usually at the age of 16 or 17. If you can't get a marriage certificate, you have to set up 2 banquets and wait until it's time. Get married legally after reaching the legal age. Therefore, this Lu Min is just 20 years old. But the child is already 3 years old. As soon as I saw Lu Mi and Lily's old and new hatreds all came flooding back. Lu Min is one of the most annoying children I have never encountered in Lily's plot. He loves to hit and pinch people, and his hands are not weak. He can pinch off all the skin and flesh of people with one pinch. That bloody flow, Lily Wang in the plot once complained aggrievedly, but in exchange for Lu Min's ridicule. She said she was fussy with her children and was shameless. From then on, Lu Min, the son, loved to bully her more and more, but when he bullied her, he even got the reputation of being a bully. Then he was punished by Mother Lu and taught a lesson by Lu Xiaoguan. Lily Wang burst into tears every time she thought of Lu Min and her son. It was okay for Lu Min not to speak at this moment. At this juncture, she actually barged in on her own. Lily glanced at her and said coldly, "Whose family is this?" and was let out without being tied up. A woman said, "You don't have the right to interrupt, go home and serve your man." Mother Lu in the plot always used this to offend the original owner. But in fact, it's not that all women in the Lu family have no room to speak, it's just that the women who marry into the Lu family have no room to speak. The daughter of the Lu family can't just say whatever she wants. All the rules for women are set for outsiders. What Lily wanted to do this time was to cause trouble for the Lu family. Naturally, she could no longer accept everything as she did in the plot. Therefore, after scolding Lu Min and scolding her, her face turned red and she was too embarrassed to speak. Then he sat back on the chair again. Mother Lu's head was buzzing. Since ancient times, no daughter-in-law had paid her mother-in-law to change her story. Lily meant that she was paying for her mother-in-law to change her story. This statement deeply humiliated Mother Lu and asked her to change her story. Lily what? Moreover, her own son was actually said to be her son-in-law by Lily Wang. She had worked so hard to raise a son to support him in his old age, not to be raised by someone else's family. The Wang family couple's divorced grandson, she couldn't give birth to a son, so she thought about other people's sons. Mother Lu yelled and cursed, "Wang Beihe, you shameless piece of shit. Your own parents are lonely old people and can't give birth to a son, so you are thinking about someone else's son. Damn, you don't have any other options, and you still have a son-in-law here. We won't get married. You are no longer a yellow girl. I saw someone picking up my son's shabby shoes, so I asked him to pick them up." She spoke very harshly, and kept swearing and insulting. In the plot, Lily Wang suffered a lot from Mother Lu's tricks, and she felt blushing and embarrassed just because she heard such words, but now if Mother Lu thought that relying on chaos she could win by scolding her, but she was too naive. Lily smiled and sat down. "I'm a piece of shit. Your son is just a second-hand man that I used. It's okay if you don't want to get married. Just pay back the money, forget it, just treat me like a man once." Her contemptuous smile and words that shocked everyone made Lu Xiaoguan unable to hold his head up, especially since it was true that Lu's mother had received Lily's money. After all, she used to show off in the village. All other women treat her, a country woman, as if she were God. She used to belittle Lily everywhere in the village, but now Lily says she can't rely on Mother Lu even after she has taken the money. But her own son, who was a dragon and a phoenix, became one of the prostitutes in Lily's mouth. Mother Lu really couldn't bear this. She rushed up and was about to grab Lily. Lu Xiaoguan suppressed his anger and held her back. He gritted his teeth and whispered, "Mom, have you had enough trouble? This is a happy event for Ziahe and I, why do you always do this?" Lu Xiaoguan has stayed in the imperial capital for several years. He knows that his background is not comparable to others. His connections are also unparalleled. When he was in college, he was arrogant due to his extremely low self-esteem and had no close friends at all. Now, Wang Zheng helped arrange his job after graduation. Wang Zheng has been a university professor for many years. He has a wide network and has many friends all over the world. If he wants to live well in the future, he will have to rely on his father-in-law to help him. Mother Lu has no knowledge. It would be fine if she can suppress Lily Wang. Now it seems obvious that Lily will not accept her, so Lu Xiaoguan can no longer let Mother Lu offend others. If Lily really wants to divorce him, he may lose his job after returning to the imperial capital. He finally stayed in the imperial capital and vowed to become a good person in the city and never let others look down upon him. If he was beaten back to his original form at the beginning, what would he do in the future? Lu Xiaoguan could only stare at his mother while begging Lily, and finally settled the matter. After this incident, it was clear that Lily and Mother Lu were going to fall out. That day, Mother Lu went back to the house and cried bitterly. Except for her two daughters, no one paid any attention to her. She cried again. After a while, I finally felt it was boring, so I came out again. Lily had already started to pack up her things and was about to leave. Seeing her like this, Mr. Lu was busy and wanted to stop her. The flowing water mat that had been arranged for 3 days had only been set up for 1 day. If Lily left now, the Lu family had completely lost all face, and he coaxed and persuaded her, barely kneeling down, so Lily reluctantly stayed. Seeing the way Lu Xiaoguan was holding back his anger and washing his feet with water at night, Lily smiled coldly. She didn't care about Lu Xiaoguan's service. In fact, she didn't want to have any physical contact with Lu Xiaoguan at all, but now seeing him squatting humbly in front of him was very relieved. Wasn't he proud and arrogant? Now that he just showed that he wanted to divorce him, he still gave in. This man was pampered by the original owner before. He couldn't find anything to do with him. It made him forget that he was actually just a scumbag at heart. He still dared to show off his temper with him. If he really had to be cruel enough to file for divorce with him, he would be more afraid of it than anyone else. If you don't control him at the beginning, you will only make his temper worse and worse, and you will be the one who suffers the consequences. Lu Xiaoguan stayed in his hometown for 3 days, and it seemed like the days passed like years. At this moment, he actually regretted that he should not have brought Lily back to his hometown. He thought of how Lily Wang was so obedient to him in the past, but now Lily knew the true nature of his family. The look of disdain shown towards him after the situation made him feel that all women in the world looked down upon others. He thought in his heart that Lily Wang truly loved him, but now it seemed that this woman was just lying to him. He was filled with hatred and anger in his heart, and he was also vaguely angry at Mother Lu. He didn't have a good look towards her at home for several days. On the 3rd day, as soon as the flowing table was laid out, Lily started to make a fuss about leaving before dinner. Lu Xiaoguan was exhausted in a few days. It was almost more tiring than working overtime for a week. He already had black hair at the moment. Eye circles, seeing Lily making such a fuss, he no longer wanted to coax him, and simply took out his things in silence. Mother Lu didn't want to let her son go. It was a rare sight, and she wanted to see her son a few more times, but this time Lily was about to leave soon, and Mother Lu felt resentful and a little scared. She used to think that she was barefoot and not afraid of wearing shoes. She thought that Lily Wang's body had been taken over by Lu Xiaoguan, so she would never leave Lu Xiaoguan and marry another man, but there was no expecting that the world has changed now. Women are getting divorced everywhere, and no one talks about how many boyfriends they have had. When she heard this, she still didn't believe it, so she asked a pair of children who were still studying, and heard that some girls started dating in high school. It was only when I fell in love that I became really scared. If the Lu family didn't have a daughter-in-law like Wang Beihe, the Lu family would become a laughing stock, and they might even lose the god of wealth. Mother Lu shouted and asked her son why he wanted to marry such a woman, but she was happier than anyone else that her son could marry a rich lady in the city. In the past 2 days, not only Lu Xiaoguan was frightened by the torment, but Mother Lu also instinctively developed a sense of inferiority. When she heard Lily making a fuss about leaving, she glanced at her daughter at a loss, and Lu Lian hurriedly stood up. He stretched out his hand towards Lily and smiled. "Sister-in-law, you are our sister-in-law now, can you lend me your mobile phone for 2 days, she has wanted a mobile phone for a long time." 2 classmates in the class who have rich families have already bought mobile phones. I wanted to, but I didn't expect Lily to have a mobile phone, and it seemed that the mobile phone was 10 times more beautiful than the mobile phones of the 2 classmates in her class. To be continued. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 141. Lily saw Lu Lian and thought that in the plot, the original owner's cell phone was snatched away by her, so she did not receive the anxious call from Wang Zheng. As a result, Lily Wang did not know about her mother's death. It was not until she returned that she discovered the body. Her heart was as sharp as a knife, and her face turned pale. She endured the sudden pain and glanced at Lu Lian. "No." After saying this, Lily was about to leave with her suitcase. Seeing the disappointment and embarrassment on her sister's face, Mr. Lu couldn't help but chase after him. "What's wrong with you lending it to her for 2 days? She doesn't know how to do it if I don't pay you back, why are you so stingy? You're generous, you're generous. Why don't you lend her your mobile phone?" Lily glanced at Lu Xiaoguan impatiently. Although she wanted to take revenge on the Lu family, the more she looked at the Lu family, the more she disliked her. She knew that it was easy to make use of this identity, but she felt unhappy when she saw Lu Xiaoguan's face. Seeing that she was so rude to her words at this time, Lu Xiaoguan obeyed her in everything, and even helped her when she quarreled with Lu's mother. Now seeing that she was still speaking rudely, I couldn't help but feel a little dissatisfied. "My mobile phone is for work, how can I lend it out casually?" He now began to feel that Lily was being unreasonable. His mobile phone was for work, so how could he lend it to others for play? If something went wrong, "Do you want to work anymore?" He was originally angry that a grown man had to humble himself in front of Lily for the past 2 days, but now he saw Lily's coquettish look, which was exactly the same as the expressions of the female classmates in the previous class, and he felt disgusted in his heart. "If I had known you were like those people, I wouldn't have pursued you in the first place." He fell in love with Lily Wang because of her gentle and well-behaved personality and her cleanliness. Although Lu Xiaoguan received an education in the city, but he is actually feudal and conservative at heart. He can't accept those open-minded women, and he definitely doesn't want the women he has dated. Under the influence of Mother Lu since he was a child, he feels that such women are useless. Unexpectedly, it was not easy to choose someone with a clean body, but such a personality made him feel tired. He didn't notice it before, but now he found out after getting married. Lu Xiaoguan couldn't help but feel as if he had been cheated out of the marriage. "Go away. Don't get married." "I don't want to get married yet. If I had known that your family was in this situation and with such conditions, your mother would have embarrassed me to death. If people knew that I had such a mother-in-law in the future, my face would be ruined. Where to put it? If you tell me that your family has this condition, I will not marry you even if I kill you. If you are not satisfied, I will divorce you." "I am still embarrassed." Lily said the words rudely and said it bluntly. Lu Xiaoguan's face turned red. Then he turned around and left. On the way to the county and taking a long-distance bus to the airport, the two of them started to get into trouble, and Lu Xiaoguan stopped talking to Lily. He wanted to use this Cold War method to force Lily to apologize to him. He had done this before, and later in the plot he treated Lily Wang the same way. Lily Wang had been very envious of her parents' harmonious relationship since she was a child, and she also longed for it all her life. As for the romantic relationship between the two of them, they were reluctant to give up their relationship with Lu Xiaoguan, and he ignored her. Lily Wang sometimes couldn't help but reconcile with him after crying for a while, because the feeling of being left out was too bad. Lu Xiaoguan knew her temper well and punished her with cold violence every time. Unexpectedly, Lily was not afraid this time. She hoped that Lu Xiaoguan would not bother her, so how could he go back and coax her as he wished? Therefore, the two of them did not speak to each other all the way until Lu Xiaoguan got off the plane and couldn't hold it back. Seeing that he had returned to the imperial capital, if the two of them were still in the same situation when they arrived at the Wang family, Wang Zhen might have a bad impression of him. Thinking of this, for the sake of his own future, Lu Xiaoguan took the initiative to take Lily's luggage, which was a disguised apology. Lily kept looking at Lu Xiaoguan all the way, until when she was about to return home, Lu Xiaoguan saw that she still had a gloomy face, feeling both hateful and a little afraid in his heart. While trying to please him, he ran 2 steps and stood in front of Lily before saying, "Ziahe, what's going on? Why have you been angry with your husband for so long? Wasn't my husband unhappy before? After all, she is also my mother, can't you give her some face?" The smartest thing about Lu Xiaoguan is that he tells the truth and lies. Mixing it all together, he would not really tell Lily what he was thinking, but he mixed the true and the false so that people could no longer tell the difference. This was how Lily Wang used to be. He lied to the point of death. At this time, he said that he was a little unhappy because Lily was disrespectful to Mother Lu. Only half of it was true. The rest was mostly because he failed to achieve his goal. Instead, he had to lower his head to comfort himself and felt a little unhappy. After all, in Lu Xiaoguan in her mind, she should be coaxing him, but now she wants him to coax her. You can imagine the discomfort in Lu Xiaoguan's heart. But Lily was not that stupid. He coaxed her with a few words. After hearing Lu Xiaoguan's words, she just sneered twice and stepped forward to ring the doorbell. The courtyard where the Wang family and his wife lived was a townhouse, which was considered a great asset in a place like the imperial capital where land was at a premium. As soon as she rang the doorbell, someone came and opened the door. She saw Lily, who came to open the door. The woman's eyes lit up and she called out, "Mrs. Bak." She was Wu's mother, who had been helping Wang's family for more than 10 years. She had watched Lily grow up when she was a child. Zheng and his wife took good care of each other. She lost her husband in her early years and grew up alone with a pair of children. Bai Rong felt sorry for her that her life was not easy, so she hired her for more than 10 years. In the past, when Lily saw Wu Ma, she would happily throw herself into her arms. But when she saw Wu Ma again, she thought that later Wang Zheng married this Wu Ma as his wife after Bai Rong passed away. All his assets were left to Wu Ma's 2 children, and he inevitably felt a little naughty in his heart. Seeing Wu Ma's enthusiasm, he just nodded coldly, then went into the room and shouted, "Mom, Dad, I'm back." Bai Rong is sitting on the sofa now, and Wang is pressing her head. In fact, Bai Rong's face is already a little ugly at this moment, and she looks very tired. In the past, Bai Rong only cared about falling in love, and because of Bai Rong was too happy about the wedding, so she didn't notice anything strange about her mother. Bai Rong was also afraid of worrying her daughter, so she never mentioned it. At this time, Bai Rong saw Bai Rong's face, and couldn't help but feel tight in her heart, and kicked her. She put on her slippers and sat down next to Bai Rong. She took Bai Rong's arm and shouted, "Mom, what's wrong with you? I see you look very bad. Why don't you go to the hospital for a checkup tomorrow?" She went into the house on her own, ignoring Mother Wu, who was holding slippers and looking embarrassed, and came in later. Lu Xiaoguan came in. At this moment, Lu Xiaoguan came in and saw Lily treating him like a servant. He was carrying a big box and some of his own things. Walking behind him now made Lu Xiaoguan feel very uncomfortable. Seeing Wu's mother with the same unattractive face, Lu Xiaoguan could not help but dislike Beihe even more. He thought she was arrogant and willful, but his heart moved. Thinking of Wu's status in the Wang family, he nodded and smiled at her politely. "Stand up. Master Lu, come and sit in the house. I will take care of these things." Wu Ma was indeed a little dissatisfied before. She had stayed in the Wang family for too many years and had almost regarded the Wang family as her own home, but Lily treated her like she just did. She naturally made her feel unhappy. Lu Xiaoguan's politeness made her feel very happy, as if the damage caused by Lily's actions just now was healed all of a sudden. Although Wu Ma had been a nominal member of the Wang family for more than 10 years, the person at the moment kept calling Miss Lily. In fact, she did not regard herself as a servant in her heart. At this moment, she inevitably felt that Lily was willful like Lu Xiaoguan, but she did not say anything and directly treated Lu Xiaoguan. I took the box in hand. Bai Rong glanced at her son-in-law who had just walked in. When she saw that he would rather greet Wu Ma first than see her husband and wife after entering, she couldn't help but feel unhappy in her heart. She just thought of her daughter's love for him and her determination to marry him. The couple really couldn't bear to offend their daughter, so they suppressed their dissatisfaction, patted their daughter's hand, and said with a forced smile, "Xiaoguan is back too. I will see your parents when I go back to my hometown this time. Are you okay?" Lu Xiaoguan was dissatisfied. He felt that Bai Rong was just like her daughter. Even her in-laws didn't know how to call her. He frowned and was about to speak, but Lily didn't give him a chance and directly interrupted what Lu Xiaoguan wanted to say. He curled his lips with a look of disdain on his face. What a good thing. There are unruly people in the bad water in the poor countryside. The mother is cruel and evil. The family is so poor that she doesn't even have a bed. More importantly, the mother actually wants to beat me, Lily complained angrily. Plot Wang Beihe in the movie was just too stupid. She did too much and suffered too much. After being gently coaxed by Mother Lu and Lu Xiaoguan, she put up with it. She also had a character that reported good news but not bad news, so she was divorced for a long time. Father Wang didn't know what kind of life she lived until Lily Wang finally died. Many people also had the impression that she was too harsh on her mother-in-law. Lily is not so stupid now, so she naturally has to say what she should say. After hearing her daughter's complaint, not only Wang Zheng's expression changed, but Bai Rong's expression also changed again and again. Her chest couldn't help rising and falling, and her face couldn't help showing anger. Absurd, the husband she married in this life, he is also a scholar, and his father-in-law and mother-in-law are also well educated. They have never blushed in their lives. Although they are not very close, they respect each other as guests. I have never heard of a mother-in-law wanting to beat her daughter-in-law. When I heard that, it was she feels sorry for her daughter, but also hates Lu Xiaoguan a little. Although Bai Rong should logically stand with Lu Xiaoguan and blame her daughter at this moment, the baby she holds in the palm of her hand is treated like this by the Lu family. Bai Rong really doesn't want to do it anymore. He scolded his daughter and couldn't help but pointed at Lu Xiaoguan and said, "Lu Xiaoguan, I agreed to marry my daughter to you because you promised to be good to her. What do you mean now? I have been reluctant to touch my daughter since I was a child. How dare your mother beat her? Damn you." To be continued.